Hello and welcome to Distributed Systems and Blockchain in the News. My name is Thomas Bocek, and the first article that caught my attention is about EDoS, economic denial of service, and it's about an incident with Netlify and Vercel. And one of their USPs is scalability of their services. However, this can be misused and can lead to a huge bill. It's the following article here. And Vercel and Netlify are both cloud platforms designed to facilitate the development, deployment, and hosting of web applications with the focus of modern web projects, for example, Next.js or React projects, just as an example. And the most recent incident caused a hefty bill at Netlify. It's the following article here. You see the bill here the user ended up with. And this user shared this experience on Reddit. And he received a bill of over $104,000 from Netlify for unexpected excessive bandwidth usage, which was attributed to a denial of service attack on a very simple static site. And after contacting Netlify's billing support, they initially offered reduction of this bill down to 5%, so he would pay roughly $5,000. And the situation sparked a discussion about the lack of distributed denial of service protection and spending alerts on these platforms, on Netlify and on Vercel, leading users to migrate their content or their sites to Cloudflare and question the security measures on such platforms. However, the CEO of Netlify, he confirmed that the user won't be charged. This is the message here, Netlify CEO, and the user doesn't have to pay the bill. And a similar incident also happened with Vercel. This incident here. A user experienced also a significant issue, and the Vercel bill ended. He ended up with almost a bill with $23,000 due to a spam attack on his platform or project EcoFox. And this resulted in over 56,000 accounts and trials. And also here, the CEO of Vercel, he confirmed that the user will not be charged. And these kind of attacks, termed EDoS, they are called economic denial of service or economic denial of sustainability. And these EDoS attacks, they exploit the scalability of the cloud to maximize the billing of cloud user until the user goes bankrupt or has to shut down the service due to high costs. The next article, this is an article in German. I have it from Watson. It's this article here, and it reports about an alleged sabotage of the Houthi movement involving cutting important underwater internet cables at the coast of Yemen. And these cables are crucial data links between Europe, Asia, India, and Africa. And the damage has caused disruption with potential consequences for international data traffic. And the Israeli media attributed the attack to the Iran-backed Houthis. And this incident highlights the vulnerability of critical infrastructure and the geopolitical sensitivity of the region, complicating repair efforts as ships are also being attacked in this region there. However, this is not confirmed. There are links for example, from NetBlocks claiming that, yes, there was a service disruption. Here, by the way, I really like what they're doing. So they're reporting on internet outages. Here, for example, Armenia, here about Chad. And they also have here this graph confirming that there's a network disruption. However, Cloudflare actually does the same. So Cloudflare has the Cloudflare radar. They also monitor internet, and they reported one day after this news report that they couldn't observe any disruption. So it's questionable whether there is a disruption or not. At the moment, I would tend to say no, because only the Israeli media is talking about it. Cloudflare didn't report or didn't see any kind of disruption. So that's why I'm a bit skeptical, but I have no idea what's going on in that region. I just see what people are reporting here. In the lecture, I also showed this submarine cable map. This is the following map here. So we see here the cable that was allegedly disrupted. So here you have all the information about this cable. I don't say this event happened or this disruption happened or didn't happen. I just want to say that there are disruptions. Cable can break, internet can break. So that's also motivation for distributed systems. The last article is about infected repositories, and it's the following article here. This article discusses malware targeting dependencies on GitHub, and it involves over 100,000 repositories through a repo confusion attack. So malicious actors, they clone legitimate repositories, inject them with the malware, and then upload them with an identical or very similar name, exploiting human error and social engineering to trick users into downloading the infected versions. And the malware involves collecting of sensitive data, and this highlights the need for security practices, including monitoring of code bases for malicious payload and reporting suspicious repositories to GitHub. And this brings me to the discussion we had about development in Docker or outside Docker with students. So the challenge task, the requirement of the challenge task is that applications need to be Dockerized, but it doesn't say how it should be developed. So there are two possibilities. Either you run your services outside Docker or during development, or you run your services inside Docker during development. And currently I'm developing outside Docker as it's just easier to run when you need to debug or do other fancy stuff such as hot reloading. You just do a go run or npx run dev and it runs. But after reading this article, I'm about to change my mind. And if you run inside Docker during development, you still download the malware potentially, and in the worst case, if undetected, you ship it. But during development, the malware doesn't have access to your files, so they cannot scan for sensitive data. And during deployment, there is typically a scan that would detect this. I have not tested this on this malware, but there are, for example, scanners like Sneak and other scanners that can detect these kind of malware, and they're quite powerful. That means take care when developing, and in any case, the less dependency you have, the better.